The latest Ohio housing market data just dropped. I've got it for you to review this evening. And something is strange. Something is not adding up because we've got active listings higher. We have more inventory hitting the market in Ohio. We have demand cooling. So not as many people in many areas of Ohio purchasing homes as they did last year. And mortgage rates are high. But what's not adding up is that prices have not really come down and they continue to go up. So here's an example in Lake County, Ohio. You can look and see 1 year change of home prices right now. One year change 4.4%. So home prices in Lake County, Ohio of 4.4% year over year. Look at the 6 year change, 50.3%. In fact, since 2022, home prices in Lake County, Ohio up 14%. And it's kind of running in a way counterintuitive to what you would really think, because in normal situations, when you have inventory rising like we've seen in many parts of Ohio, well, you would expect prices to come down or at least, soften. But we're seeing prices continue to accelerate to all-time record highs. But really, to figure this out tonight, I need your help. I need to understand what's happening in your local housing market in Ohio, in your neighborhood. Are you seeing more homes for sale, fewer homes for sale? What are you seeing? That's what I want to know. And you can help us out by commenting, even if after the video is recorded. So, good evening. My name is Jason Ferrier. I am the Ohio Housing Nerd. I do this every week, sometimes more than every week. And my channel is dedicated to the Ohio housing market and giving you the information you need to make a great decision versus an uninformed decision. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're reviewing county by county data, folks. Like, I've got some awesome stuff to show you here from a data standpoint, and we'll get right into it. Please comment. Let me know where you want me to look in Ohio. What areas of Ohio do you want me to look in? And you can see on the screen right now, we've got Lake County right up near Cleveland. And again, the 1 year change, 4.4% in home prices, 2 year change, 11.8%, 3 year change, 15%. Look at this change from year 3 to year 4, 10%. Home prices went up 10% in that time period. If we go back 3 years and then look at 4 years, you're looking at a 10% increase. Look at this, almost a 20% increase from year 4 to 5. That's how you get unhinged home prices, by the way. That's how you do it. So, yeah, crazy, right? 6 year, 50% growth. Change since March of 2020. Basically, when COVID hit, you're up about 45% in Lake County. And some of these counties are at a request from you, the viewer. You wanted me to review some of these. So that's what I'm doing tonight. And then obviously chime in with any other ones you want me to look at, or any Ohio housing questions, or just housing market questions you have. I'd be happy to engage you in conversation there too. So it's kind of an interactive time for all of us. All right, let's look though. This is pretty interesting. Now check this out. This is inventory. So this is the amount of inventory that we're seeing in the market right now. And by the way, this data is all from Lance Lambert at Resi Club Analytics out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Shout out to Mr. Lance Lambert. And I have a premium subscription, and he said I could share this data, so I am. And now you don't have to pay for a subscription, but I highly recommend it because it's awesome data. All right, so if we go up to Lake County here, this is an inventory snapshot. So year over year, the inventory, and this is startling in Lake County, it's only up 11%. Only up 11% in inventory year over year. Pretty surprising. Like, Franklin County's up, we'll look in a minute, I think it's up over 40%. Licking County's up over it's in near 29%. So if we look down at right now, you've got 313 homes for sale in Lake County. And then if you look back historically at where we are with inventory in Lake County, I mean, it's easy to see, back right after the pandemic started. We were at 409. So you have fewer homes for sale than you did back in 2020. I mean, you have more than you had in 2022 when you had 274, but look back in 2017, for goodness sakes. Look at that. 953 homes. So right now you only have 313. You have like a third of the inventory you had before COVID. I mean, people bought some homes up in Lake County. I mean, you can see it. Some serious homes. Like you got to wonder, right? But if you live up in Lake County, shout out. A lot of people have asked for Lake County. So you've got inventory not growing that much. You got prices up. That's what's happening in Lake County. Let's go to another one. I'll stay on the inventory for a second. And I'm going to look right next door at Cuyahoga County. Look at this. Same kind of situation. Look at well, first off, I guess it is different from a year-over-year growth. Look at that, 29% growth in active listings in Cuyahoga County versus last year. So 29% more homes for sale. That's better than 11. So you need more inventory. You're getting it. But look at this, 2,113 homes for sale right now. Look back in 2017, 3,900 homes for sale. So you are building inventory. You're higher than you were in but right when COVID started, right, in 2020. But you're still not. Oh no, and you're not. Actually, you're underneath that number, and you're also underneath before COVID started. So fewer homes, folks. Fewer homes equals normally, unless demand really crashes, higher prices. That's just kind of the way it is, unfortunately. But again, tell me what you're seeing in your market in Ohio. I want to know. It's all about Ohio. I have another channel, obviously, on YouTube. Maybe you don't know, but it's just housing. It's just Housing Nerd, not the Ohio Housing Nerd. I kind of do more of a national thing. But I received a lot of requests for Ohio because I live in Ohio, and I was like, all right, I'm going to start this channel. So tonight's all about Ohio, though. So let's look at prices now in Cuyahoga County. Yeah, look at this. 1 year change, 4.7%. So prices are up still 4.7%. They're basically an all-time high. All-time high in Lake County, all-time high in Cuyahoga County. Look at the 2 year change, 13%. You go back 3 years, you're up 16%. So that change from year 2 to year 3, not that big of a change, like 3.5%. You had a big jump from year 3 to 4. Look at this jump here. Year 4 to 5, a lot of counties in Ohio experience this. I mean, that's a massive jump. I mean, that's what, 24% in 1 year? Is that right? 20? Yeah. That's nuts. That is startling. Right? I mean, that is just ridiculous. Go from 27% 1 year in increase to 51%. Home prices in that year must have just gone straight up. Straight up. So if you think about it, the way they look at this number, that's like 21, that's like 2020 to 2021, right? Is basically where that was. Man, change since COVID started, 50%. 50%. All-time highs in Cuyahoga County. Nuts. All right, let me look at the comments real quick. What do we got? I'm in Lake County, and it is. Okay, yeah, I'm sure it is. Huh, it looks like it. Yeah, the market up in Lake County is tight. Not a lot for sale at all. So when you think about, I've been really looking at these inventory numbers over the past week. Like, I'm wondering, when are prices ever going to stabilize in Ohio? Inventory is building. There's no doubt. But it's probably the wrong inventory, right? And Lori, thanks for joining us. I'm wondering, Lori, if you're seeing this, like, what houses are for sale. Are they really expensive? Are they beat up? Are they like houses that normal people can afford? Or are they like, no, these houses are really expensive, or they need like $100,000 in work? I'd like to know. Oops. Lando Bando. I do see more homes for sale in Southern Delaware. Thanks for the great info. You're welcome, Lando. Southern Delaware, huh? Delaware County, I assume. Yeah, I'll take a look at that one here in a minute. Well, let's look at it right now. Why not? You mentioned it, so might as well. That's the purpose of all this. By the way, before we get there, let me show you this. I meant to show you this at the beginning. This is a national look at home price growth, and this will give you a sense of how much home prices have grown over time nationally. And I bring this up so that we can kind of compare Ohio to what we're seeing in nationally. Actually, this chart is fantastic. I may put something like this together for just Ohio. But look at the down here. Look at, let me make this a little bigger. So on the top here is the months, obviously, then the years, and it kind of shows you the trend. So average for this month right now, average for, well, I'll do June, is 1% up. That's the average if you take a look at all historical averages. Right now, the nation is 0.4 right now. So if you look at the U.S., we're grown home prices year over year up, I'm sorry, month over month up 4%. So nationally up 4%, 0.4%. Sorry, geez. Hey, I usually do these in the morning. It's the evening though. So 0.4%. Average is 1% month over month growth. So if Ohio is growing at 4.7, 4 in some markets, I mean, it's like 4 times the national average. It's what's that? 10 times what you would see that the national market is growing right now. So Ohio continues to grow. Continues. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting slide. Let me go. I didn't just say slide, did I? Let's look at Delaware County for Lando Bando or Bando Lando. Delaware County. Let's look at inventory. Year over year shift. 40%. You got 40% more homes for sale. So you mentioned, Lando, that you are seeing more homes for sale in Southern Delaware. That's like Columbus, right? Basically. Or not Columbus, but it's on the border of Columbus. Franklin County. Up 23 maybe. Is that where you're seeing them? A lot of housing developments up there, I think, right? Yeah, so up 40% year over year in inventory in Delaware County. Inventory in June of 2025, 414 homes for sale. Look at inventory back in 2017, 622. And it actually grew a little bit over the next couple years, surprisingly. You hit a cycle low of 216. At one point, you only had 216 homes for sale. So here's the trick, right? You look at year over year and you think 40% growth in inventory. That's a lot. Percentage-wise, it is. But you're not even back to like really pre-pandemic levels of inventory. That'd be 647. I mean, that year you lost a ton of inventory. 2019 to 2020, inventory went down 200 units, which is a lot when you only have 647. Now let's look at prices. So 1 year change in home prices in Delaware County, 1.9%. So price growth is decelerating. Like it is changing. It's probably not just changing fast enough for people that want to buy a home, maybe. But home price growth is slowing. There's no doubt about that. Like, look, I mean, again, look at year 4 and year 5 change. Look at that. 24%. In 4 years ago, you're up 24% in home prices. If you go back 4 years, 5-year change, go back 5 years, prices now are up 42%. So look at that delta. I mean, that's crazy, right? 18% in 1 year. 6-year change, 49%. You go back 6 years ago, homes in Delaware County were 49% less expensive. I mean, that's a big discount, right? I mean, that's a huge difference. Shift since the peak, 7.3. Lance puts this line item in here, this shift since the peak, to show us basically, hey, a lot of markets hit a peak in 2022. The U.S. did not, actually, is still growing, but many markets hit a peak in 2022. How much did Delaware County grow? In Ohio, we kept growing, obviously, right? But if you look at the change since March of 2020, a lot of housing analysts will look at this and say, how much have we grown since COVID? 44% in Delaware County in home prices. But they are slowing down, right? You go back 2 years, you're at 5.5. So to sell your home, how much does it cost? 8%, 9%, right? Commissions, title fees, approximately 8 to 9% to sell your home. So if you're only up 5.5% or 1.9%, and you try to sell your home, you bought it a couple years ago, probably going to make you're going to take a loss, right? You're obviously going to take a loss. Even if you had bought 3 years ago, and these are median using Zillow Home Value Index. So this is in general, obviously, depending on what you bought yours at, you could do better or worse. But even if you bought 3 years ago in Delaware County, you'd still kind of break even if you sold it. Unless you put like a ton down, right? Anyway, that's Delaware County. So, Lando, you are seeing more homes for sale, but not enough to cause any type of price disruption. By the way, I'll bring this up too. This is crazy. Wait till you see this. This is nuts. Thanks, Lando, for that info, or for the suggestion. All right, look at this. This is crazy. I made this a couple days ago. I'm not really sure how I'm going to use it, but I just kind of thought, like, hey, let me go back to 2000 through 2025 and look at inventory and prices. Now, I can't pull inventory for everywhere in Ohio going back that far because of the MLS. I don't have access everywhere in Ohio, just in central Ohio. So I'm using Resi Club and Zillow data to look like Lake County and Cuyahoga County and those markets. But in central Ohio, I have access to the MLS, and look at these charts. So look, I mean, here are the home prices. This is the median home price averaged by year. So I took the prices every month for each year and then created an average for each year. And right now they've got us tagged at 323 in central Ohio, which would include Delaware, actually. Delaware County. So we know home prices have accelerated a ton. One of the interesting things about this is, check this out. Look at where it peaked in 2005. Right before the GFC, $147,000. And look what happened. It fell to a low of $124,000, $125,000 if you're rounding up. So home prices in central Ohio during the worst years of the housing market fell, what's that? $13,000? No. 23,000, right? 22,000, something like that. Yeah, 22,000. Like, they went down, I think they went down about 15%. My math's right, that's about 15%. So home prices didn't fall off a map back during the GFC. I show this to you because if you're waiting around hoping that prices are going to crash 50%, 60%, I got people on my channel that say I'm not going to buy until homes correct 60, 70, 80%. I mean, there are locations in the U.S. where home prices corrected 60%, but not everywhere did. And so in Columbus, as it was in central Ohio, it's a 15% correction. Not 70, not 50. They didn't fall that far. Because homes are relatively affordable here compared to the other areas of the U.S., not compared to locals. Now, if you're local, they don't think it's affordable. But so, and then look at this. This is other thing that's interesting. Look at active listings. Back in 2000, we had 7,600 active listings in central Ohio. 7,600. And I'm going to get back to the counties in a second. So keep suggesting them. I will get to them. I just want to provide this context. So 7,600 homes. Look how many homes we have for sale right now in central Ohio. Like if you look at just the counties around Columbus, about 4,500. And I annualize that number. So 40 to make the chart easier to read. So 4,500. I mean, we're nowhere near the peak. Look at the peak in 2007. 20,000 homes in 2007. We had 20,000 homes for sale. And you can see, like, leading up to the GFC, look at the inventory accelerate. Like 1 year, I mean, 2004 to 2005, it jumped from 13,000 homes to 15,400, 2,400 homes. I mean, that's a lot. You got to think also people were buying homes during that time. People were, you can see here the sold listings down here. People were buying homes. So even with homes coming off the market, this thing accelerated through the moon. That's why you saw this price change right here. I mean, it's almost like clockwork, right? Look at this. 2005, 147, right? 2005, we were building inventory, 15,000 homes. Then we hit a peak in 2007. Look, in 2007 to 2008, we had a $10,000 median price loss. So the point of the moral of the story is you've got to have a lot of inventory to cause any type of massive price change, because now we only have 4,500 homes. We're not even back to 2000 levels. Like if you go back to the year 2000, we don't even have enough inventory for that. So when you'll hear headlines, you'll see stuff on Facebook from realtors. You'll see things on like the nightly news, Channel 4, Channel 6, Channel 10, whatever you watch. Fox 28. And it'll say like, oh, their inventory is growing in Ohio. Competition's heating up for sellers. There are more homes to choose from. It's a good time to buy. Well, there are more homes to choose from, but we're so far underneath historical averages and extremes even that it's not a panic situation yet. So you put into context, we need a lot more homes for sale in order to cause some type of price crash. This shows, by the way, this chart here shows the change year over year. So you can see 1 year we lost 2.2%. 1 year we lost 6%. Then it went up positive for a second and then fell 4%, then went straight up. It went from down 4% in 2011. 2012, we were up 8%. That's a change of 12%, right? And then here's COVID right here. Look at this. Central Ohio grew 13% in home prices. But you can see that price deceleration. Look at the growth deceleration. Now 1.48 for Central Ohio. That's how much home prices are growing. But as we see tonight, there are areas that they're growing more. All right, so let me go back to this. Anyway, that was my lesson on Central Ohio 2005 crash, 2008 crash, whatever. All right, so I did, oops, got to take Michigan off there, right? I did Delaware County. Who else wants one? Let's see. Got some people on. Hey, if you're on, got 33 people on, hit the like button. Don't be a freeloader. Got to hit the like button. That's all I ask. Are there minerals in Lake County soil? I don't know. Somebody else have to answer that one. Ashtabula County. Okay, let's do it. Where is that? Shoot, you think I'd know that, but I don't. Oh, yeah. It's up there in the north. Right? There it is. Let me move my map here. All right. Prices. Look at that. 1 year change. Man, that area of the state is hot. Up 6%. 1 year change up 6% in home prices. 2 year change up 12%. 3 year change up 15%. 4 year change up 29%. That was like a 15% gain from year 3 to 4. And again, look at year 4 to 5. I mean, it was almost a 20% gain. I mean, if you go from year 4 to year 6, look at that. 66%, and year 4 was 29%, 36% increase in home prices in Ashtabula County in 2 years. In 2 years. Now you have some ammo. Like you happen to be looking for a home, you're talking to a realtor, and a realtor says, yeah, home prices have gone up really, they're out of control, like they've gone up a lot. You can school them and say, well, actually, in 2 years, between 2021 and 2019, home prices went up 33% in Ashtabula. I mean, that's obviously not sustainable. That's not, that won't work, right? How long won't it work? Don't know, because it's still going up, though it's not going 30% in 2 years. Nuts. 66%. That's how much it went up in 6 years. And by the way, property taxes there probably exploded too, right? If you've been watching my channel, you've seen my property tax videos. Yeah, it's shocking how much taxes have gone up. Let's see. Change since March of 2020. COVID, right? 60% increase. So prices are unhinged there, and they don't seem like they're slowing down. All right, let's look at inventory there. Inventory will drive prices. Ashtabula County. Yeah, I mean, you're up 27% in inventory year over year. That's good, right? But like when you really look at the details, last year you had 137 homes for sale. This year you got 174 homes for sale. So you've gained like 30 homes, right? 30 some homes you've gained. Not that many. I mean, back in 2017, you had 420 homes for sale. That's, that is the story of the housing market, not only in Ohio, but everywhere in the U.S. This is why many markets, home prices haven't really corrected yet or changed trajectory in the U.S. because the inventory hasn't grown enough to cause any type of seller pain. Sellers don't have to cut prices right now for the most part. Not a lot of forced selling, especially here in Ohio. Man. So like if you're in a county like this with like Ashtabula where you only have 174 listings, you're going to have to be like, it's like trench warfare. You're going to have to do things as a buyer that others are unwilling to do. So you should look at off-market properties and you should drive for dollars. You should drive around and look for properties that have damage, that look like maybe one of the houses on the market that are, or one of the houses on the street rather, that are beat up, and then reach out to that owner and see if they're interested in selling, even if the house isn't on the market. If you just wait for on the market houses, unless you're willing to pay probably near what the seller is asking, and unless the house has been on the market a long time and it has a lot of work that's needed, or there's something about it that most buyers don't like, whatever that is, it would seem like you're going to pay retail. You're going to pay near retail probably. So you're going to have to look off market if you want to find a real opportunity. If you're flexible, you could house hack, buy a duplex, put a renter in one side, live in one side to get something that makes sense. But yeah, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to see a lot more inventory hit the market to see a price change, a significant one anyway. Crazy. There's Ashtabula for you. Here in Hamilton County, prices are going up. There seems to be an increase in inventory, especially at the low end. Oh, that's good. Oh, teardowns in rough shape in undesirable locations. Yeah, what's up, TK? How you doing? Yeah, agreed. Man, that looks like a person in that picture, but it's not. It's a dog, right? Kind of looks like a Halloween mask, but no, it's a dog. I like dogs. Is that a collie? Looks like a collie. Let's look at Hamilton County. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying makes sense to me. That it's probably beat up houses that are, beat up houses that need work. Where's Hamilton County? Where am I? Right there. So let's look at. Let's start. Let me do prices again, real quick, just so that we stay on the same type of rhythm. 1 year change in Hamilton County, which is Cincinnati, basically, right? Or a lot of Cincinnati, 2% up year over year. So it's not up like, look at the 2 year change. You would have been up, 6.8% in that year. So it's not up 6.8%. It's not up 20%, thank goodness, but you are up 2%. Nationwide right now, up 1.48. So Hamilton County is tracking higher as far as home price growth. Look at this. Look at this 4 to 5 year change. That's 23% in 1 year. Not in 2 years, 1 year. Look at this. 2 year change in Ashtabula was 30%, 33%. This is 32%. Right? In Hamilton County from 2021 to 2019. If you look at that price difference, the market went up 32% in home prices. I mean, that's really where, that's where a lot of the pain came in. Because look, like year 2 to 3 was only 4%. Year 1 to 2 was only 6%. Not that that's bad growth, because that's historically probably, I look at a 20-year chart of Hamilton County, I'm going to guess it's 5% or something over the last 20 years. So to have a year where it goes that parabolic is not good. Not good for Hamilton County or anywhere. Change since March of 2020, 49%. So since COVID, you're up 50%. Let's look at inventory, see how we're doing there. One of the goals of my channel here on the Ohio Housing Nerd is to bring you data that maybe you don't want to hear. I'm not your typical realtor. I'm not going to tell you should run out and buy a house today. I'm not going to tell you that the market's toxic and don't buy one. It's your decision. It's your life. It's your money. I'm just going to give you data and help you make an informed decision. And I hope I do things a little different than most realtors do. And I hope I do it different than most, I don't know, folks that cover the housing market in Ohio, which there aren't a lot of them. Inventory, 39% shift year over year. 39%. That's a big jump, right? So let's look. How much of a jump is it? 944 last year. This year, you got 1,300 units or houses. 300, 350, 360, something like that in growth, 360 homes. So better inventory, but probably not enough. And it probably corroborates what you're saying, TK, because we're seeing more homes for sale. But you say it's in the area of town people don't want to buy in, or you don't want to buy in, and they're teardown homes or homes that need a ton of work. So that inventory does it count? It's there, but unless you're willing to take on a project, probably won't make much sense. Inventory in 2017, 2,257. So you're not even close to back to 2017. You're getting there, but you have a little ways to go, 700, 900 units or so. Your low was right here in 2023, 729 in the entire county. But one thing I noticed with Cincinnati and Hamilton County is that you never got to insane low levels of inventory. It was low, don't get me wrong, but I was seeing inventory kind of stay. There was always some inventory on the market. Probably wasn't the right inventory, but there always was some inventory over the last 5-6 years on the market. It wasn't like in some spots where there was literally nothing. I just remember seeing that from all the charts over the last few years. So prices are still up in Hamilton County. Inventory's building, but you're not there yet. This is the metric to watch. Like if you want to watch one metric in your area, watch inventory. If you only had to pick one metric, that's what you should watch. The number of homes for sale. Look at it at the same time period like this, June, all the way back. Whatever month you're in, whatever time period you're in, look at it and you'll understand, okay, what's going to happen with home prices if this continues? Well, you can see them slow down a little bit, home price growth, but they haven't reversed into they haven't, there hasn't been a deflation yet, right? Kind of just stalling inflation. Okay, so that's Hamilton County. Thanks for suggesting that. Mr. Kev Fresh, spill some info on Summit County. We're contingent on at the Portage Lakes region. Oh, okay. Yep, I'll do Summit County. Summit County. Let me go back to prices. You know what? I'm going to use inventory here. Is it over here somewhere? Yeah, there it is. Summit County. What do we got? 748 homes for sale. You're up 27% in inventory again. That, like in a normal year, forget COVID, go back to like 2017 or whatever, or any, almost any other year, it seems like in the housing market. If you grow inventory 27%, that's a lot. Like, that's like, whoa, what happened here? But when you came from the basement at 571 back in 2023, not that good or not enough. So 748 back in 2017, you had 1,700 homes for sale. So far less homes for sale, far fewer homes, however I should say it. I mean, look at this year. Look at that drop. I mean, literally COVID, like you could draw a line in the sand with COVID. 1,328 homes in 2019. Then COVID hit, and a few months after that, in June, 815. So that's 500 homes you lost. You lost like a third of your inventory in 1 year. People must have been buying hand over fist then in Summit County, which is near Akron, right? One of the other things to look at, something else to point out, and I see this in the central Ohio data too, just aggregately, is that you were losing inventory before COVID. Like, this is 1,700 units, then you're at 1,500, then 1,300. So you were losing housing units well before COVID. It wasn't just COVID. People will say, oh, it was the money printers, it was COVID stimulus money, but way before COVID, you were losing inventory. So, that would tell me that the housing market was accelerating before COVID, and your prices probably reflect that. So let's look here and see what's going on with prices. Here are prices. 1 year change up 3.4%. 2 year change up 11%. So more growth than the national average right now, which is like 1.4 as far as prices go. 6 year change 53%. Shift since the peak 14, and change since March of 2020 47%. Call it 48%. So you're in contract, Mr. Kev Fresh. Kev E Fresh. Kev Fresh. You're in contract on a home, it looks like. Well, good luck. I hope you get it. I hope you get the house you want. I gotta be careful. If I'm sure you're working with a realtor, maybe you're not. If you're not, that's obviously okay. I just I don't want to overstep my bounds with a fellow realtor and give you any advice on the property. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like home prices are slowing down there. I mean, the growth is slowing, but it doesn't seem like they're headed to negative territory because inventory is just not where it needs to be, right? You just don't have enough homes for sale. But maybe you're buying a lake house. It says a lake. So I don't know. Does that mean you're buying a lake house? It's pretty cool. Portage Lakes region. I don't know if it's a lake house or not. But anyway, thanks for asking about Summit. I hope that helped. Lauren Decker. Hey, Lauren, what's up? I'm interested in the Dublin and Powell area. Seems like homes aren't flying off the market, and more inventory. Many people have been laid off in my industry and this area this month too. What industry is that? I'm just curious. If you don't want to tell me, you don't have to. I'm just kind of curious. So for this exercise, let me see. I'm going to have to do something else because you want to look at a specific area of Central Ohio. I can actually look at the MLS. And that'll give us an idea of what's happening in Dublin and Powell. Come on. Okay, here we go. You want me to do Powell? Hopefully you can see this. Again, I can't do this all over Ohio, just in Central Ohio. So this is Powell. Let me just go back to your comment and look. Homes aren't flying off the market and more inventory. Many people have been laid off. Let me look down here and see if you answered my question. I'm just curious. Yeah, Lauren, I'm just kind of curious what industry you're in, just for my own knowledge. All right, so let's look at number of listings. Let me go down here. So this is going to look different. Obviously not graphical, like there's not counties or anything like that. This is more spreadsheet type stuff. So one of the things that stands out to me immediately in Powell is that if you look down here, this shows you active listings, right? Homes that are on the market for sale. And you said that you're seeing some pop up and they're not flying off the market. So inventory, oh my goodness, look at that. Your instincts are, they're probably on, Lauren. Look at this. 150 homes right now for sale. This is in June, as of June. Last year you had 108. I'm sorry. Last year you had 86. That's an inventory growth year over year of 74%. Yeah, 74%. Now, here's the trick. Look at where the inventory is located as far as price points. $500,000 plus. That segment of the market, the listings are up 70%. So you've got 97 homes right now listed over 500 grand in Powell. This is the city of Powell, by the way, or Powell city limits. 57 homes this time last year listed in Powell over 500 grand. And then look at 400 to 499. You've got 30 homes. 300 to 399. There's 21 homes. And then 250 to 299, one, and 200 to 249, one home. That must be like a, I don't know, like a storage unit or something. I mean, in Powell for 250, I don't know what you're getting. But in any case, there was a house on the market between 200 and 250 at one point last month. But if you look at this, there is growth of inventory, but as far as numbers go, not percentage, numbers go, you've got most of the growth happening at 400 and above, certainly 500 and above. So more expensive homes on the market. Like if you're trying to sell a home in Powell right now and your home price, is $750, let's say, which isn't hard to do when it's Powell, you probably have a lot more competition than you did last year. You probably do. As a buyer, there probably are more choices. Let's look at prices and see how they've done. I didn't even look at that. Okay, so prices right now, well, last month prices are up 5.79%, the median sold price. Year to date, you're up 8%. So that inventory that's sitting on the market must not have a lot of price cuts. Or if it does have a lot of price cuts, it hasn't sold yet, or the price cuts haven't dropped it underneath what we saw last year, right? So you're not seeing, like in the data, I'm not seeing a lot of price discovery or discounting going on. But to your point, though, earlier about them sitting a while, look at this, the absorption rate. And I know this is really nerdy, but I'm the Ohio housing nerd. So what are you going to do? 2.68 months of supply right now. Last year, you were at 1.49. So this is basically how fast homes are moving. Right now, if we didn't add any homes on the market in Powell, the current inventory would last 2.68 months. That's what that means. Last year, it would have lasted 1.49 months. So homes are taking longer to sell, but anything under a 4 is a seller's market. So it's still a seller's market there in Powell, just not a strong seller's market. Like last year, it was a strong seller's market underneath 2. That's a strong seller's market. And, you know, it's, yeah, it's just, it looks like you're, you just don't have the inventory in the lower price points, but in Powell, that's really hard to do. You have some, like from the 300 to 399, there's 21 listings. Last year, there was 9. But that 500 grand segment and larger, that's where all the, you know, that's where all the inventory stacked up, it looks like. So let me look at Dublin real quick, because you asked about Dublin. Same thing in absorption rate, right? 2.09 last year, 1.6. Median sale price, what do you got? 497 this year. Last year in Dublin, in June, this is just June, 550. So it's down. It was down 10% last month in median sale price in Dublin. That's interesting, right? But look at this. Year to date, up 17% in Dublin, the median sale price. Yikes. Last year, 466. This year, 545. So either homes are appreciating more there, or more expensive homes are selling and lower price homes aren't selling. I mean, at some point, there won't be any lower price homes. Like, they'll all be expensive homes. And so these categories will probably get revised. I mean, the board of realtors, that's where this data comes from. They should probably have like a 750 and $1 million plus category in here, because 500 grand, that's most listings. I mean, look at this. These are active listings. You've got 106 listings in Dublin over 500 grand. Last year, 77. You're up 37% in June in expensive homes. And then look at this, 400 to 499, 300 to 399, 250 to 299. All those categories are down year to date in inventory. Like, you've got fewer homes in those categories year to date than you did last year. I mean, less expensive homes are not on the market. Comparatively, 106 $500,000 plus homes. Of the 163, that tells you kind of the I guess the product mix, if you want to call it that, using a retail term, like a product mix, right? So let me look at the solds. Yeah, I mean, people are buying them. Last month, they bought 51 homes over 500 grand in Dublin. I mean, that's, you know, people are buying homes, expensive homes, by the way. But look at that, 400, 300, 400 and 300. those are down year to date in sales. Probably because there's hardly any listings in that price category. At some point, it'll all be in 500 plus. But I hope that helps. It's it does look like prices went down when you look at just that month, but I wouldn't read too much into that because year to date, you're definitely up. So people continue to buy expensive homes in Dublin and Powell, it looks like. I don't think that's going to change unless there's massive economic pain. Massive. Like economy pain, right? Like tons of job loss. We don't have adjustable rate mortgages for the most part that we did back in 2005, so that's really not happening. Foreclosures are an all-time low artificially, of course, but it is what it is. Anyway, I hope that helped. That was pretty detailed, but I hope that helped. Need a comparison of inventory on per capita basis. Inventory goes up a little. Population goes up a lot. It's kind of a net negative. Yeah, I see what you mean, Brian. Thanks for asking. I don't have that data in handy in front of me. Let me make a note about it. Yeah, I guess what you're saying is if you have a lot of migration in, is that what you're saying? Into areas, then you're going to, and inventory doesn't exponentially increase, you're going to see, obviously, fewer homes for sale. Is that what you're saying? But the trick is, though, those folks have to be able to buy those homes, right? And look, even I look at this data all the time. Obviously, I'm a realtor, I'm an investor. But even I get like confused by it because just because I've lived in Ohio a while, I tend to think like, how can people like, there are people out there just pulling the trigger on $750,000 houses in Ohio, like all day long. They are new builds, 600 grand with $8,000 in property taxes a year. No problem. Here we go. Give me another. And to me, I'm like, wow. Other people, they're like, that's just, it's no big deal. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy a home that's that expensive at all. You know, it's just startling for somebody who grew up in Ohio for the most part to see that. But yeah, I wrote that down, Brian. I'll put it in my long to-do list of things to kind of investigate. All right. What else we got? Prices in Strongsville and Medina are decreasing. 5 to 10 grand. Some houses sold 20K under. What is, are you seeing the county? Okay. So like you're talking about over here, right? It's like right here, right? Yeah. Well, 1 year price change, 4.4%. So home prices are up in Medina County. Now, real estate's hyper local, obviously. So there could be neighborhoods where prices are lower than last year. But they're up 4.4%, and 6-year change is 54%. I mean, they don't seem like they're overall in the county coming down under last year. However, what you're saying is, your point is that you're seeing price drops, right? Let me look at inventory here. Inventory of homes for sale. You're only up 6.2% in the number of homes for sale. Oh my goodness. That's not good. That's not good. Like you definitely need more homes for sale. That's like nothing, right? I mean, last year you had 195 homes. Now you've got 207 in the county. Am I in the right county for you, by the way? Just double check. Tony, let me make sure. Tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Medina. Yeah, like look at that. You don't have any inventory. 207 last year, 195. That's nothing. I mean, since 2022, literally, I mean, actually before that, Since 2021, you've only gained what? 23 homes in 5 years. That's all you've added to the market. I'm guessing there's not a lot of new building up there. Maybe there is. 554. You had 554 homes back in 2017, which wasn't a ton either, probably, but that number was dropping just like in other areas of Ohio. Inventory was dropping before COVID. Then it hit a low of 170. Yikes. That was in 2023. And now you're climbing out of the basement. But if you're seeing price cuts, that doesn't mean necessarily that home prices are coming down versus last year. It probably means that they were overpriced homes, obviously, right? I mean, if you have to do a price cut, it means it's overpriced. There's a lot of wish pricing out there right now, wish pricing of sellers. Like sellers are almost obstinate about the market. Like they're like, I don't care what any logic tells me. I'm pricing my home at 400 grand. And, you know, even if you're like, well, reality is houses in your area went for 370, 375. No, my house is better, 400. We can always come down. That usually equals a lower sales price at the end. So they haven't cut the prices enough, and a lot of sellers just don't need to sell. They want to sell. And when you don't need to sell, you'll just kind of sit there on the market. We're seeing that all over the country. That's why listings are up in a lot of areas, but prices are kind of sticky. Because sellers are like, nah, no thanks. I'm not going to lower it that much. Eventually they may, or they may just take it off the market. I mean, you just need more inventory, man. I mean, that's what you need. You need more inventory, Tony. So watch that inventory number. And you're saying they sold 20K under asking. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Somebody misprices a house that, and you know, with more inventory out there, a little more, at least you can look at some comps, maybe see some stuff that's sold. And that helps buyers understand, that price is probably not what I'm going to pay. Cool. I like looking at these other areas of Ohio. What's up, Brody? When I bought my house in 21, there was less than 10 listings. Now 50 plus in Butler County. Let's look at Butler County. Wow, less than 10 homes. Huh. Oh, just north of Kings Island there. Obviously, I didn't pay attention in 8th grade Ohio geography. Otherwise, I could just zoom right to the county. But I have to look it up. It's right here, right? Yeah. It's like right here, right? Isn't it? Where am I? Come on, Jay. Brown, Pike, Ross, Jackson, Benton, Hawking. Where is it? I know it's not in Franklin County. It's right there, right? What in the world? Yeah. Where's Hamilton? Oh, right there. My fault. Sorry, guys. Okay. 28% increase in inventory there. Well, in all of the county total, you've got 458 homes for sale. According to Realtor.com raw data. But still, you don't have near the amount you had in 2017. And in 2021, yeah, look, there's only 208 homes for sale in the entire county. That was low. Let's look at prices there. Prices. You're up 3.5% this year over last year, 9.4 in 2 years. Then you went up, you go back 3 years, you're up 12%. 6-year change 59%. I mean, again, just like a lot of other areas, year 4 to 5, that 2021 to 2020 prices there went up 22% in that 1 year. I mean, that was the killer year in a lot of markets. I mean, 10% isn't great either as far as ridiculous inflation, but 22% for a housing market in 1 year is like unheard of until COVID. And that's just not normal whatsoever, not even close. I mean, you just go back to this Ohio chart and you can see it, right? I mean, look. Here's the price change year over year for Central Ohio only, just Central Ohio. I mean, we had 13% in 2021 for all of Central Ohio, but prices like kind of just went sideways, up a little bit each year for a while, and then straight up. I mean, this right here through this area of time was just not healthy. That's when everything went haywire. So that's Butler County. But you got your house, 2021. You probably have a good interest rate, I'm guessing. I'm just guessing you have a good interest rate. So, I mean, would you ever sell, Brody? Would you sell your home? I don't know. I'm just curious what your plan is. What's up, Brian? Again, just think if there weren't so many crappy houses and iffy flips within the Central Ohio outer belt, weren't holding those median home values down. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the mix, right? Crappy houses and iffy flips. I like that. I may steal that. Crappy houses and iffy flips. Yeah, like flips are a lot different now. You have to dial in a flip. You've got to make sure all the major systems work right. You have to, in my opinion, you got to flip below the median or close to the median. But buyers are picky now, much more so than they were before. So yeah, flips are you can't just jump into a flip now. It doesn't feel like. But other people have different risk tolerances. I mean, sales, not values. Two different things, of course. Oh. Right. Those median sales down. Yeah, I mean, it's about product mix. Highland. I got you. Highland County. Highland County is expensive, isn't it? Oh my goodness, look at that. In prices. 1 year change 4.7. Remember, nationally we're at 1.48. By the way, 42 people on. Hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up. Make a comment. That's all I ask. Not hard. 1 year change 4.7%, nationally up 1.48. Two-year change 13.7. 3-year change 16.6. 4-year change 30% up. Look at that change. Year 4 to year 5 up 32% in 1 year. That's obviously not sustainable. But this is maybe the largest increase I've seen so far in a county in Ohio. 77.8% up year over year. I'm not sorry. In 6 years, year over year. In 6 years, up 77. I mean, if you're going to round, you could call it 80. Who's counting at that point? 77% in 6 years. I mean, this is only it's a 15% increase from 5 to 6, but year 4 to year 6 in 2 years. Look at that. 47% in 2 years. Change since COVID, 65.8. There were a lot of factors why home values went up like they did. Easy and cheap money was one of them. And do I think interest rates will get where they were during COVID? I hope not. It wouldn't be good for the housing market or the economy in the long run. It'll give us a good sugar rush for a while, but that's about it. But I'm not going to rule out that interest rates aren't going to drop to a low that creates a lot of just silly buying, at least for a short term, until obviously inflation catches up with us. But yeah, I mean, this growth here that's unreal. That's a stat for the books. 47% in 2 years. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's a record. It's got to be a record for Ohio. All right, let me look at inventory. Highland County. Yeah, I mean, you're up 55% year over year in inventory. Good. 93 homes for sale right now. Low was 41 homes. Look, in 2017, you had 148 homes. You're still not close back to where we were in 2017. And this follows, again, I'll go back to it again. This follows active listings for Central Ohio. If we look at the active listings, you can see right now 4,500 in Central Ohio. Look at the active listings back in the year 2000. You had 7,600 active listings. And then inventory, though, dropped after the GFC in Ohio. And I would imagine it's the same thing for Highland County. Inventory was falling, right? As we came out of the GFC and tons of houses were on the market, people started buying homes. And we really didn't build any homes in Ohio. New home building in Ohio was like way behind the curve. Way behind the curve. So we didn't really add much inventory. A lot of old inventory, as y'all know. A lot of old 1900 homes. And now it just, inventory fell and fell and fell. And you really haven't, I mean, you're starting to come out of it, but it's not, it's past COVID levels, which is good. You just need more. But I mean, let's be honest. Look at this in home prices. I mean, if you're up 77% in 6 years and you have a year where prices fall 5%, not they're flat, but they fall 5%. That's not going to amount to a hill of beans when you think 6 years ago it's 77% growth. So what? Now it's 70% or 71%. So what? Still a lot. That's why, like, the notion that people are like, I'm going to wait for the big crash in Ohio to buy. I mean, you could be waiting decades. I'm not saying that for gospel, but you could be. Unless inventory returns in a big way. Anyway, that's a crazy stat. That was nuts. Thanks for suggesting Highland County. I'm going to check out some local housing markets on the street, and I'll have to write that one down. Because that's ridiculous. I like gardening, so welcome there, gardener. Orville Hall. Collies are great, but boxers rule. Richland and Crawford counties. All right, let's do Richland and Crawford. Here's Richland County. Prices, 1 year change in prices, 4.9. Yeah, look at this. You 6 year change, 70% increase. 5 year change, 60%. So that was a 10% difference there. This was near 40%. Just like Highland. Richland County saw prices go, up nearly 40%, 37% in 2 years. It's hard to think about when you think about Richland County and you're like, Mansfield, Ohio. Wow. I own some rental properties in Mansfield, and there probably are areas that went up that much in 6 years, and I guess I've owned mine for probably almost 6 years now. I don't think they've appreciated that much. And I don't know how investors are buying right now in some of these prices. They must be buying off market, although I do see them buy on market. And I'm not sure at all how they make those numbers work. I can't make them work. Wow. That's startling. That's another one to make a note about. Richland County. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's look at inventory there and see what's up. I think inventory there, is it up a lot? I wonder. Richland County. Up 20% year over year. 172 listings right now. Last year, you had 143. So almost 30 units, 30 houses. Not that much. But 99 homes for sale at the low back in 2021. 302 back in 2017. The story's the same for a lot of these Ohio areas. Just don't have enough inventory. You were losing inventory before COVID. COVID did not help. And then they injected free money into the system. And people went nuts with offers, right? They'll pay anything. Over asking, grossly, egregiously over asking. Who cares? Man, yeah, you just need more inventory as well. And maybe it's inventory now that people don't want. Maybe it's beat up inventory. I have seen some off-market deals in Mansfield come through, and yeah, they all need like 6 figures in work. So hard to justify buying, even if you spend 70, 80 grand on a duplex, if it needs 150,000 in work, it's like, man, for the yield you get there, it sometimes doesn't make sense to buy it, even if you have the credit, bandwidth, the capital, access to capital. It still may not make sense. We'll have to watch inventory there for sure. Okay, the other one you wanted was Crawford. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's next door, right? All right, inventory in Crawford County. What do we got? Year over year, 25%, call it 26% increase. Kind of same story, right? 150 homes in 2017. Now you got 68. Low was 36 homes in 2021. Just not enough growth. You are growing though, slowly. But watch the inventory number. Let's look at prices. Prices in Crawford County up 2.7% year over year. 6-year change, 64%. Yeah, that was, in 2 years, you were up 41%. I have to double check that with my eyes to make sure that that's right. It is right. 41% in 2 years. It's almost, something happened in Crawford and Richland County. Like maybe it's people from Cleveland buying. I don't know. Or just the sheer lack of inventory. That's probably it. And the fact that home prices in general, like in Richland County, aren't high to begin with. So people are like, oh, I can get a 2% interest rate, a 3% interest rate. Yeah. So what if it's another 10 grand over asking? Wow. Man. Yeah, prices there, they're still going up. You've got inventory low. If that doesn't change, if you don't get a lot more inventory or there's not some big change in the economy that will cause sellers to have to sell their homes, not want to sell, but need to sell, like pull fire alarms. I got to sell my property or I am doomed. Put it on the market tomorrow, honey. Like that type of selling, you're probably not going to see a lot of price relief, honestly. And people ask, how far can this go? How long can this go for? Well, it can kind of chug along at 2%, 3%, 4% for a while, maybe. And if interest rates come down, look out. Look out. But can't control that. You just have to play the hand you're dealt. Do you have a channel specifically for California? No, I don't. But I'll tell you the guy that does. Well, it's not specific for California. He does the nation, but he hits on California a lot. That's Jason Walter. So if you look up Jason Walter on YouTube, he has he's in Sacramento, so he does a pretty good job with California. Should I have an all California channel? I used to live in California, so maybe that counts. My wife will be like, "No, don't do it. That's way too much work. Wait, you're adding too much." It'd be fun. I'd love to do it if I only did YouTube, but I'm a realtor too, so I've got clients. They come first, and I can't spend all day on YouTube. Though I'd like to. I really enjoy YouTube. Thanks for that suggestion. Thanks for watching. Investment Joy. What's up? I certainly like where I'm at in Ohio. Pickaway. Curious how days on market and prices will go with all the new manufacturing job base coming. Meanwhile, Ross is losing jobs. Yeah, what's that out there in Pickaway County? Anvil. They're a weapons manufacturer of some sort, right? I appreciate you joining us, Investment Joy, because you have quite the story. I've checked you out on YouTube, and if those of you who are watching, you should check out Investment Joy's channel. It's pretty sweet. Let me look at Pickaway. I don't know that I have. I'm not sure that I have the MLS access to that, but let me look. It's Circleville, right? I may. Let me look. Do this. Here we go. So you asked about days on market specifically. So average days on market, combined days on market. That's not how long the property has been listed just the most recently, but that's all the combined days on market total. So if somebody lists a property and then they actually cancel the listing or expires and then they renew the listing, that is what combined days on market is. So this year it's 28 days. Last year it was 25 days. So homes are sitting on the market on average 3 days longer. If you look at the median, it's 6 days longer. So homes are sitting longer, but not by a ton. That was in June. If I look at just year to date, it's tied. It's the same. Average combined days on market is the same. If I look at median, it's up by 2 days. Just looking at year to date. The absorption rate, if I look at that, tells you how fast properties are moving. 2.38 this year. Last year, 2.52. That's in June. But overall, the absorption rate, or homes, I guess you could call it, are selling 11%, 12% slower than they did last year if you look at year to date. So is that a lot? No, it's still a seller's market. It's not a strong seller's market, but it's still a seller's market there. Let's look at inventory. Active listings. I mean, right now in active listings in June, you were up 7.4% total. Year to date, if you look at all the active listings you've had so far this year and look at last year, 16.2% increase. So another, call it nearly 100 homes have been listed this year compared to last year. So it's not an explosion of inventory by any means. And if you have more people coming to the area for those companies, I would think that's going to get worse. Like in Licking County here locally, I'm trying to understand how much intel has really played into our lack of homes, but I don't know. I know it has played a role, but it's hard to understand exactly how much of a role it's played because the entire market, all of Ohio, all of the country has been crazy for the last several years. So it's hard to look for an outlier. But if I look at the spread, going back to Pickaway County, like you have fewer $500,000 homes in June that were listed than last year. You have more 400 to 499 homes, fewer 300 to 399. The mix is kind of all over the place. You do have some growth in affordable listings. I mean, 120 to 139. You had 4 listings compared to 2. I mean, not that that's anything to write home about. This 400 to 499, though, you had another 10 listings compared to last year. So, and then let's look at median price. What's up here? I mean, median price in June was up 1.18%, June to June. So not that much growth. And year to date, you're up 4.8%. 346 from 329. So kind of normal growth year over year, really. Like nothing insane. So it looks like you just need more homes, right? Like everywhere. I keep saying that, but that's kind of the way it is. But yeah, thanks for chiming in, Investment Joy. Yeah, I'm really curious though on how everything rolls there in Pickaway with that big manufacturer coming. I'm drawing a blank on the name. Do you have any info on large corporations like BlackRock buying residential homes? Yes, I do. Let me think about where I can get that. All right, let's see. Let me see if Redfin has it. Investors. Shoot. Hang on. Stand by. So this is Redfin. This is free. You can come in here anytime you want. And they track the market share of investor purchases. So right now, nationally, for instance, we're at 19% in quarter one of 2025. 19% of all residential transactions were purchased by an investor. Now, the investor, they're classifying as anybody, not just people that are, not just companies that like institutional investors. Usually those folks own like over, I think they say they own over 1,000 single family homes. But this is just all investors. So hopefully this works for you and kind of puts it in perspective. But we're at 19% now. If I look, that's national. Let me look at Columbus. I don't have the same level of data that you would see that we were looking at earlier. But in Columbus, 17% in Columbus. So 17% of all residential sales are going to an investor of some sort. And they classify that, I think, by LLC. So if it's an LLC buying it, then they call it an investor. The weird thing is there's a lot of investors that buy it in their personal name. And if they do that, it's going to look like they're buying it for themselves. So this could be, there's probably some room for error both ways in this thing. Look at back in 2022, it was 25% in Columbus. Now here's what's crazy. You want to see something really crazy? This is investment. This is what type of homes the investors are buying. This does not break it down though by city. This is only national. I wish it did. Wish it did have specific data on metros and counties, but it doesn't. So if I look at single family houses, it's 19%. So let me look at this. Share of investor market share. Yeah, investor market share. So of the single family houses purchased, 19% went to investors. Of the 2 to 4 unit properties, it's 34%. That makes sense. Right? And then if I look at townhomes or condos, 19%. So that gives you an idea. About 19% are being, purchased by an investor of some sort. I hope that helped. And you can go to Redfin anytime in the data center into the investor section and take a look at it. Slice and dice it any way you want. Let me go back to the counties now. But good question. Oh, you're saying these layoffs you were talking about in Dublin and Powell. Automotive R&D side, suppliers, some people in banking. Yeah, there's that huge, well, that's in Polaris, that big Chase building. What's up, Investment Joy? Can always export from CBR MLS into ChatGPT Grok and build a similar graphic. Yeah, I can. I will tell you, though, exporting into Grok and ChatGPT, man, like you got to like triple, quadruple check that stuff because when I dump that raw data in, it sometimes just makes things up. And so it can be done though. Yeah. And I do that all the time. In fact, that's how I kind of did this. That's how I did this. And made these graphs about historical inventory and pricing. I'm doing a video on Ohio on comparing the housing bubble and the great financial crisis housing market in central Ohio to what we're seeing now. And anyway, I did that with ChatGPT, or a lot of it, in like crunching the data and, averaging it and stuff like that. So you're right. It can help with stuff like that for sure. I haven't used Grok too much. I've just used ChatGPT. Can't see the numbers, but 74% is more than I expected. Oh, shoot. Okay, sorry about that. You couldn't see the numbers. I remember when the total absorption rate in Columbus Metro was over 14 months. Yeah, it was. You're right. Yeah, Investment Joy is saying that at some point, the Columbus Metro had well over 14 months of inventory. And that's right. It did. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people get excited about a little bump in inventory, and I understand why, because we've been so bad lately, but you need a lot more to cause pain. 14 months is a lot. I mean, that's like saying I don't have to add any more inventory in our current housing supply the last 14 months. Holy cow. Are you saying that happened during the GFC probably? I'm guessing that's when you saw it. Because you buy investment properties, right? I think you own that and laundromats and construction and all that stuff, if I remember right from your channel. Lorain is getting better. Let's look at Lorain County. Lorain County, what do we got? 444 active listings. So to your point, Mud Zombie. Yeah, to your point, Mud Zombie, 444 units compared to 324 last year. But look, in 2017, you had 1,000 houses for sale. Yikes. And then it dropped and kept dropping. Well, I guess it went up that year. But look at 2019 to 2020. You lost nearly 400 homes. Like almost half, 40% of your inventory was gone from 1,000. That was the killer. That was really the killer year. Then let's look at prices. Lorain County, 1 year change, 4.7% increase year over year, 6 year change, 55%. Change since March 2020, 50%. So big increases. I mean, it's not 76% like we saw from like Highland County, but still 50% over 6 years is a lot. I'm sorry, 55% over 6 years and 50% since COVID. Still a lot. And you're way over the national average with home price growth. Nationally, 1.48 approximately if you look at Zillow. Now, the thing is, Zillow, Redfin, almost everybody in the housing market, all the analysts pretty much predict that home prices are going to drop by the end of the year about 1% versus last year. There are some people that think it'll drop by 5 to 12%, like double-digit decreases. I mean, for that to happen right now, we would have to see like the second half would have to be horrible. And we're not seeing that. Like, it's not that bad. So Will we drop year over year in Ohio? I don't know. Probably not. Just need a lot more inventory. One of these days, I'll stop saying that. I won't have to say it. I'll be like, we have too much inventory. Everybody will be excited about buying a home. Thanks, Mud Zombie, for suggesting Lorain. Everything's about to crash except gold and silver, in my opinion. Okay. I mean, but even like with the stock market, it's all about supply and demand, right? I mean, that can change quick, right? I mean, you could have like one of those goofy tariff days where the market had these ups and downs, like insane ups and downs. But in the housing market, you're going to see it materialize over time, right? You're going to see more and more homes hit the market. You're going to see prices start to come down. You're going to see new listings explode. That's where you'll see it first, probably, is new listings. We're not seeing that. So everything is about to crash. I don't know. Yeah, gold's had a good run lately. Depends on the area. Central Ohio is still 50K units short overall. Yeah, I think you're right, Investment Joy. I mean, there's just not enough homes. You can see it in the numbers. We will go through all these counties. You can see the lack of inventory. It's not exciting stuff. Like people want, a big event, like to wake up one morning and the sun doesn't rise. And then, houses are pennies on the dollar. But it's really about supply and demand. We just don't have the supply of good homes, right? Of good homes, not tear downs. Homes people can actually live in. Home prices are going to get cut in half and grocery prices are going to triple. I mean, it could happen at some point. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not seeing, grocery prices are expensive, but I'm not seeing house prices in half yet. But anything's possible. Interested to see what next month looks like. Sure. Yeah, we'll be here covering it. This report, by the way, like this these maps that I'm using now, these come out every month from Resi Club. Usually every week I do a Redfin update on the housing market in Ohio. So every week I'm usually doing a Redfin update. This week, though, I decided to use these maps. So once a month, I'll use these maps. And then every week, when I don't have these reports that are fresh, I'll use Redfin weekly data because it's updated every week. I work a lot with investors, Thomas. You'd be shocked at how just many people have huge stockpiles of cash to buy into price reductions. I'm not saying you might not see some reductions, not half. Yeah, so like this is something that I don't think a lot of people want to come to grips with. That there are a lot of people with a lot of cash on the sidelines to deploy. I mean, how else do you explain that people continue to buy $600,000 and $700,000 houses? And you have to have a qualified loan now. Like you can't have a stated income loan. They're not fraud loans. They're actual like human beings, Ohioans buying houses. And there's people migrating. There's some folks that live near me and in Licking County, and they moved from an area down south, and their house is probably $1 million. It's a new build. It's a beautiful home. And I don't know how they bought it. I didn't ask, but there are people out there with a lot of money. And as prices come down, what Investment Joy is saying is that people will jump on those discounts if it makes sense for them. They got cash. And you know who has a lot of cash? Billions just lying around in buckets. Institutional investors. They got a ton of cash. I mean, there's one investment company that I know in town in Columbus. They call me every once in a while asking if I have anything to buy or anything to sell. Like, hey, you have any discounted properties or, problem properties that you want to sell? They're buying like 7 to 10 houses a month. And they're just like a couple dudes like who have investors. And then they're buying houses hand over fist, flipping them, buy and hold. And they're paying cash. And then they're having their crews come in and renovate them. I mean, you're right, Investment Joy. There's a lot of cash out there. Again, I'm not going to tell you things you want to hear necessarily, folks, but it's the truth. They're just people ready to buy. Thanks for mentioning that. It's all about the money supply. Global and US M2 is increasing. Yeah, if you check out Clearview Tax on YouTube. The other person you could check out that I highly recommend is Uneducated Economist, Simon. That guy will make your head spin. And he's just a normal dude in a truck. And Clearview Tax, that's what he says all the time about M2. It just keeps increasing and increasing and increasing. New money coming in the system benefits those asset holders first and the ones on top. And then it trickles down to everybody else as that new money enters the system. And there was a lot of new money in the past 6 years that entered the system. And to Grayson's point, there's more new money entering the system. Not enough to result in half prices. They said the same thing about M2 growth 5 years ago, yet now real estate is 2x higher. Right. M2 growth was coming down and then now it's not. I mean, if you look at who's in charge of the country right now, do you think for a second they're going to let stuff crash without trying to print their way out of it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're going to print and print and print. I mean, they want interest rates lower. They're all in real estate. They all have assets. They want to refinance them. Do I think that's healthy for the long term of the housing market? No. Probably not good for a future of inflation. But what I want doesn't matter. It's what reality is. But yep, you're right. Just north of Hamilton County, right when I was trying to find it. I didn't know what I was doing. What's up? Thanks for joining us. Jermon. Is that how you say your name? Yeah. I got friends still waiting for the bottom from the GFC. They were sure in 2012 that there was a double crash and prices would go down another 30 to 50% from 12 years ago. I just bought. Yeah. I mean, some of the prices then there were some deals out there for sure. Funny thing is, I bought my first house in 2012, didn't know anything about real estate cycles, didn't follow them, didn't even look at them. And I bought a very inexpensive home as my first house to live in. And I got a discount off of list, but if I could go backwards, obviously, I'd have bought a duplex. But I didn't. Don't bother looking at the rural areas of Portage County. It's quiet. Okay. Do Monroe and Washington. All right, I got a couple more in me, and then I gotta go. I've babbled enough. Let me just look through this real quick. Okay, let me do this. What do we got? Monroe County. Here we go. Wow, that's on the, I didn't know where that was. That's on the eastern border, huh? There it is, Monroe County. Prices 1.9% up year over year in Monroe County. 6-year change 20%. That's it. Wow, that's low. I mean, that's probably more like normal, right? So they haven't gone crazy at all. And they're still up 1.9% year over year. I'm curious to see what happens with the inventory there. Got to look at that. What time is it? 7:45. Monroe County. Yeah, there's not a lot of homes for sale there. 30 homes for sale. You actually have a 9-year high of homes for sale there. Look at that. You're up 66% year over year in inventory. 30 homes. I mean, you're a 9-year high, but that's not many homes. Not a lot of transactions happening there. So you do have more inventory. Well, prices may actually come down even more. They may actually soften completely there. I mean, you're up 1.9% year over year, but you're not up like 50%. You're not up 10%. And 6-year change isn't 77%. So which is better? Having prices that are actually somewhat stable, it seems like. They've just kind of followed the normal pace of home appreciation, or having home prices go up an insane amount. But if you buy one, you may see a 5, 6, 7% in 1 year, or is it better to see a 1.9% in a year? But realize you're not going to, turn your house into a gold mine in 6 years. Which one's better? I don't know. Many people would probably take stable. But that's what a normal housing market looks like, basically, from a price standpoint, not an inventory. Only 30 homes for sale. Let's do Washington County. That's down here, isn't it? Yeah, right here. Washington County. 4.8% year over year. 6-year change, 35%. Not an insane amount. 5% a year, about 5 point something percent a year. About normal. Since March 2020, up 30%. Let's see inventory. $163 back in 2017. Now you've got 98 homes for sale, up 4.3% year over year. Not a lot of inventory growth at all year over year. You kind of stuck. 84 in 2023, 2024 had 94, 2025 had 98. So not that much growth. You're getting higher, I guess, since 2021, but you're nowhere near where you were in 2017 at 163. But prices there aren't going parabolic, and they didn't really compared to the rest of Ohio during the or most counties in Ohio during COVID. Yeah, thanks for suggesting that. Down by the river, right? Orval Hall. Thank you for your expertise. Appreciate your time. You're welcome. I appreciate you joining us and giving your time. Space Rangers Recording Studio. Abolish property taxes completely. Well, a lot of people want that. And as an investor, I pay a lot of property tax. But I will say, if property taxes go away, home prices may go up even more. Because the average person buying a home is not going to have to pay property tax. So they're like, oh, my payment just went down $500. And people buy on payment. But I understand what you're saying. I don't like being taxed on unrealized gain. I don't mind paying for services. And I certainly don't mind paying for schools, police, fire departments, libraries, zoos, cemeteries. I mean, where I live, they do a great job with those things. But I just don't want the bill tied to the unrealized gain on my house. That's all. Like, it'd be like coming into somebody's Edward Jones account and taxing them on the unrealized gain on Bitcoin or Coca-Cola or something. Not going to do that. You get taxed if you sell it and you make a profit. That's normal. But you don't make it just on paper. Like, well, your value went up. Be like going into somebody's house and going, hey, that art on your wall, not that I own any art, but the art on your wall, it went up, $1,000 last year in value. So now you owe us $50, Jason. That's not cool. Got to figure out a different way to do it. Because if home prices continue to go parabolic, it'll get very difficult for people. Not that it already isn't. Only the remodeled, updated, expensive homes are being listed and selling in Portage County, rural areas. Nothing affordable, and the Amish is snacking them up for land within days. Yeah, I've got a couple Amish clients, man. They come with cash and they come to buy. They don't fool around. I love the Amish folks. Thomas, oh yeah, you do too. Spaced Rangers Recording Studio. It's time to abolish property taxes. Didn't you say that already? You're just repeating yourself. Okay. Government is taxing people out of their homes so big corporations like BlackRock can force people to rent out. Yeah, but see, they have to pay the taxes too, and you can't really get around that. Like, there's no loophole in property taxes, really. There's really not. I mean, there's some things you can get, like opportunity zones and abatements if you're like an Intel. But in general, if you're just an investor buying a single family house, the tax is the tax. So if it doesn't pencil out, those guys still can't buy it. But I understand your plight. I get it. Ohio has $2.9 billion plus in sales tax, yet they still extort property taxes from people. Yeah. Increased sales tax could be the way to go, maybe, or combination of things, or hybrid of all three or something. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but you're welcome. Boomers are valuing their homes too high, generally speaking. The demand for older homes just isn't there. Well, I just think sellers in general, a lot of them are probably overshooting their skis on the price. That's all. I don't know if it's necessarily boomers. I think it's just everybody. I run into a lot of young sellers too and Gen Xers that overprice their homes. Let's see. Fred Ford. I see higher end houses, let's say over 500,000 in Clinton County sitting on the market. All right. I'll do one more county here. And then what I'll do is I'll go back probably tomorrow morning now. Could be tonight, but probably tomorrow morning. And I'll put in all the chapters with the counties so that you can go back and reference it with a timestamp if you want, instead of having to fish through the video. Let's see. Clinton County. Okay, that's just, what's that? Just northeast of Cincinnati, right? Northeast of Cincinnati. What time is it? 7:53. Clinton County. Look at this one, folks. Found one that's down in prices. No, I'm sorry. Down in inventory. My bad. Don't get excited yet. Down 6.9% in the number of homes for sale year over year. Inventory in June of 2017 was 128 units. Now you've got 67. Last year you had 72. You have fewer homes for sale right now. Fewer, not more, fewer. That's not helping. That's not going to help you. And you say you're seeing $500,000 homes sit. Yeah, you may. I mean, if they only have 67 homes for sale, maybe there's not a lot of people that can buy a $500,000 home. Let's look at the prices and see what's up. Yeah, prices up 4% year over year. 5-year change, 50.8. 6-year change, 62%. Yeah, that year, again, just like other counties, year 4 to year 6, you saw nearly a 30% increase. No, 40%. You saw nearly a 40% increase in home prices in year 4 to year 6, so 2021 to 2019, or however you want to look at that, 2019 to 2021. Home prices went up 40%. I mean, it's so fast you can't even keep track of it. That's obviously not sustainable. And, now it's not growing as much, but you're still up 4%. So that's the level of data I have for Clinton County. By the way, if you want real granular data, and I can't give it to you because it's maybe outside of the MLS in Central Ohio, and I'm giving you just kind of this broad information, get with a realtor and ask them for how much inventory of homes for sale has been in the area you want to buy in over the last decade, month by month. Have them just give you all that data, and then have them give you all the data for the number of sold listings, the number of new listings. You could even get median price if you wanted. And that's going to tell you the story of how things have trended. And then you can look at what's happening now and go, all right, does this mean prices are going to, are we gaining more inventory? Are homes taking a lot longer to sell? That'll help you understand what's happening in your, even subdivision if you want, or school district. The school district's a great way to look at prices. Yeah, prices went crazy there over the last 6 years. Yeah, that down there, like down in Highland. The other one I'll do, let me look at Warren real quick. People like Warren County. They always ask about it. Up 3.2% in Warren County in prices. 6-year change, 55%. Let me look at Warren County for inventory. Inventory's up 28% year over year, 402 homes, 2017, 863. So you're definitely not back to 2017 levels. You are almost back to COVID levels, almost to pre-COVID. But like in a lot of other areas of Ohio, you lost a ton of inventory that 1 year. 400 units almost. You lost in that, not 1 year. I'm sorry. Yeah. From 2019 to 2020, you went from 758 listings to 479. That's 300. A little less than 300. Still a lot. Not good. That just killed the market. And now you're just crawling your way out of the gutters from an inventory standpoint in Warren County. People ask about, the other one people ask about all the time is Montgomery County. Inventory in Montgomery County up 19%, 833 homes for sale right now. Last year you had 700 homes for sale, so you have gained some inventory. And then prices, let's look at prices in Montgomery County, up 62% in the last 6 years. 1 year change, 3.7. So it is slowing. The price growth is slowing, but it's not negative yet. There are some areas that are negative. You guys didn't ask about any of them. Look at this. Harrison County in Ohio, down 4.1% year to date with prices. Let me do this one down here is down. Jackson County, Ohio, down 3.9% in prices. So there are areas where prices are down. Meigs County, down 2.9%. Look at Meigs County. They've been down every year. Like homes there have been losing value from over the last 4 years. Homes have been losing value in Meigs County. I mean, if you bought in the last 5 years, your home is just worth less every year. That's an outlier. Vinton County, you're down 2.7% year over year. So there are places where home prices have come down. Hocking County, that's no surprise, down 2.8% year over year. There's probably a glut of Airbnb in there, right? I mean, even Licking County, we didn't cover Licking County, folks, but 1 year change in Licking County, only up 0.7%. Guernsey County up 0.6%. Even Franklin County, look at this. Franklin's only up 1.3%, so it's not up 4, 5, 6%. Let me just look at the inventory in some of these areas real quick. So yeah, Franklin County inventory right now, I didn't mention this. They're at a 9-year high in Franklin County with inventory. My suspicion is it's homes people don't want, obviously, or people be buying them, but 2,125 units now. Back in 2017, you had 2,002 units. So you're at a 9-year high of inventory in Franklin County. Pretty crazy. Licking County, not a 9-year high, but dang close to it, an 8-year high. Look at this. We have 384. You go back to 2018, and we had 377. In 2017, we had 457. So right now, 384. So we're close. Licking County's growing inventory. There's no doubt about it. Anyway, I could look at this information for days. What else we got in here? What's up, John? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, 100% printing. Yeah, man. I did Cuyahoga at the beginning, I believe. Didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did Cuyahoga. And I did the Akron County. What was that? Is that Summit County? Yeah, I did Summit County earlier. One of the first ones I did. So check it out on the replay or rewind it, whatever you want to do. I did Ashtabula County earlier. Yep. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. Miscellaneous Muse. Miscellany Muse. Do you have any information about Jefferson or Belmont? I didn't do those. All right, you talked me into it. So let me do Belmont. Those are my last two. Here's Belmont County. inventory of homes for sale, 7.1% up year over year. You got 121 homes for sale. You are growing that inventory. So there are more homes than you've had in the last few years, but you're not back to 2017 levels yet. And you're not back to pre-COVID. But you are gaining inventory, but 7.1% isn't a lot. It's a few homes, right? 7, 8 homes. Probably need more. Obviously. As most people do. Or most areas do. What's you asked for, Jefferson? Jefferson. Where is that? Oh. Jefferson is just to the right. So that's Steubenville then, huh? All right, let me do prices for Belmont real quick. I'll come back and do Jefferson. Belmont County prices. 1 year change 2.1%. 6 year change 27%. So they haven't gone down, but and you just didn't see the growth that other counties saw. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's thank goodness you didn't see prices go up 70%, right? I mean, I guess it's great if you owned a home and still own it and you just caught the wave and you're like, I'm good, I'm going to stay in my home. Then it could help you. Unless property taxes went parabolic, then it won't. But maybe it's better to have just like this normal growth, 27% down by the river, right? I used to live in Shadyside, so that's back in the day. So I think that's Belmont. All right, let me do the other one you wanted, which is Jefferson. Yeah, there you go. Jefferson County, up 4.5% in prices. 6 year change, 49%. Typical growth we've seen in Ohio. A lot of growth. I mean, it's kind of interesting that it's just north of Belmont County. So what's driving the fact that home values went up 50% there in 6 years, but in Belmont County, they only went up 27%. Part of the economy, obviously, right? But let's go to inventory and look at Jefferson County. Jefferson County. Yeah, I mean, look at this. You had there's no inventory growth at all year over year in Jefferson County. That's not good. If you're wanting prices to come down or more choices, you had 131 homes this year for sale in June. You had 131 last year. 2017, you had 300 homes for sale. That's yeah, you just haven't grown inventory the last 3 years. Look at that. In fact, you've lost a little bit. In 2023, you had 134 homes for sale. Last year, 131. This year, 131. Just no homes for sale. And then maybe that's why the prices are the way they are comparatively to Belmont. Yeah, if we look at Belmont County, 121. And you really haven't gained any inventory either in Belmont County. So I wonder what the difference is there as far as the price growth. But it looks like Jefferson has a, let me see. It looks like Jefferson just has had a larger price growth over the past 6 years. And you're still growing prices. But if you go to Belmont, I mean, they did grow their home prices 27% in the last 6 years. Now it's up 2.1. So it's not crashing by any means. It just didn't go up straight up like Jefferson did or some other counties did. But maybe that's a good thing. You know, the extremes aren't fun to deal with in a lot of aspects, unless you can like catch the wave just right and cash in, right? But now where are you going to go? Like if you're selling your home in Ohio and you make a couple $100,000 on your house and you're like, woo, like, where are you going to go to get a lower, like the same maybe interest rate or payment or the same value you got when you bought your home in Ohio? You're not going to. So maybe those are the people that are buying the $700,000 homes, but like Ohio is pretty inexpensive. home prices compared to a lot of other areas of the U.S. So I could see selling a home in like California, moving to Ohio, but if selling Ohio, and where are you going to go? Ohio? But people are selling their homes. They are buying homes here. Anyway, you get the point. Hey, look at this. Very nice of you, Leona. Thank you so much. It's really cool. $4.99 super chat. Thank you for your help for Ohio homeowners and renters. Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for watching. And thank you for the super chat. That's great. I use my super chats for Fridays. Pizza. That's what I use it for. Pizza. So thank you. And seriously, I mean, you don't have to spend your time here. You certainly have to give me money. But wow, very nice of you, Leona. Yeah, that's why I started the channel. I was like, you know what? Nobody's really covering the Ohio housing market from a ground level as much as I can get on the ground. And people, I just want to be able to provide data so people can make more informed decisions instead of looking at Facebook and seeing a realtor say, now is the best time to buy, marry the house, date the rate. I mean, that's not going to help you. So hopefully hopefully my channel does help you, and I really appreciate it. Seriously, Leona. Check out Citizen for Property Tax Reform. Thank you for the info. Yeah, actually, I interviewed, you need to check out my Housing Nerd channel. I interviewed Beth Blackmar with Citizens for Property Tax Reform. I interviewed her on the Housing Nerd channel and then I interviewed Brian Massey. He's with another tax reform organization, and they're the ones heading up the property tax abolishment measure in Ohio. So I did like a summary video on this channel, but I have my main interviews on my main channel, the Housing Nerd, or Housing Nerd, not Ohio Housing Nerd. So check those out. But yeah, Citizens for Property Tax Reform, Beth was fantastic. And I just interviewed another individual who's like volunteering to help as well. And she's knee deep in the property taxes, and she's local to Licking County. So I just interviewed her, and that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Yep, they're doing a good job. All right, folks, listen, if you're out there looking for a home to buy and you need help in Central Ohio specifically, or anywhere in Ohio for that matter, reach out to me if you need help. If you need a realtor, shoot me an email. My info is below. I'm happy to connect you with someone that I have a network of realtors that I know in Ohio. So if I can't help you directly because you're maybe outside my area, an area of expertise, I can get you to somebody who can help. If you want to buy or sell a home in Central Ohio, give me a shout. And and maybe I can help you understand the local market, the local neighborhood, and yeah, I'm happy to do anything I can to help you in your buying and selling journey. What's this? I got to click on this. You've baited me. Never trust a realtor. They always sell both sides, saying it's a seller's market, and then tell the other side it's a buyer's market. Yeah. Well, they sell both sides. Well, yeah, I don't. They tell it's a seller's market, and then they tell the other side it's a buyer's market. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like to say it's a seller's market, unless you're looking at absorption rate. I don't know how you can really say that. And a buyer's market, it's depends on what the days on market are doing, I suppose. But I don't usually represent both sides. That's kind of a tricky situation to be in. A dual agent. But it's happening more and more with the new real estate laws. All right, guys, listen, have a great night. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for the interaction. Thank you for helping me understand what's happening in your market. That really helps. I'm going to be making a trip around Ohio to some different markets coming up, and covering some cities on the ground. So I have an idea of where I'm going to go. And whoop, hold on. I'm co-hosting with Citizen for Property Tax Reform and River News Network. As a realtor, I feel that it's beneficial for people. Absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely important to let them know what's going on. Thank you for your help. Thank you for that. I'll have to check that out. You're co-hosting with Citizens for Property Tax Reform and River News Network. Yeah, shoot me an email, will you? And just give me an idea of where we can hear you, or post it on this video and let us know where we can hear the. Is it on their page? I know they have some radio shows on their page. But yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that interaction. All right, guys, look, I'm wiped. Maybe you are too. We'll see you next time on the Ohio Housing Nerd. I'm out. Have a good night.